know that greens are good for us, but these days science is beginning to understand why. A recent study says pile on the onions. Dr. Mark Minkola says researchers looked at green onions and found they may help prevent a deadly form of cancer, except you may want to, pop a Tic Tac afterwards. Tell me about this study.
Well, University of Minnesota, and they looked at basically something called miracetin. It's a big word, but really it refers to some of the French paradox, the polyphenols, these powerful antioxidant-like substances in the green onions. Apparently have the ability to really suppress pancreatic cancer cells.
And isn't that a very commonly deadly form of cancer?
It is. It's the fourth leading cause of cancer-related death, so it is indeed.
When it comes to utilizing green onions, I mean, how many do you have to have in order? I always wonder this about when these studies come out, because of course it's always better to get your nutrition through your food than through a supplement. But how much do you have to ingest?
Well, I think really what this study indicates is that, almost like the French paradox, that there are these remarkable antioxidant-like properties in so many of our fruits and vegetables. We talked before we went on about onions, about scallions and leeks and garlic, but also fruits. A lot of fruits have the same sort of antioxidant-like properties as well. I think really all this stuff sort of distills down to the fact that nature had a great plan. This idea of fruits and vegetables, you can't get enough. And I think they're all loaded with similar powerful antioxidant-like agents.
When it comes to antioxidants, people hear that as a buzzword, and you see it branded on the side of a juice box or something like that. But really, when you're getting it from whole foods, it goes beyond even cancer prevention.
Well, that's a great point. And I think that the real key there is we talk about intrinsic value, the idea that a living food really has very different properties. If you measure even vitamins, for example, in living fruits and vegetables versus the supplements, you could take a higher concentration of something in pill form, but the value is much more translatable. It's much better for you in food form.
A lot of times people see this with fish oil. Maybe they're not a fan of seafood,
Absolutely.
but that fish oil is so good for you, so you take it in a capsule. Is the component that you're talking about, can you take that in a supplement form?
Well, you can. And miracetin, such as this study kind of looked at, is available, generally about 100 milligram capsules, pretty widely available throughout the health food store world. But, the real question, again, back to what we just said, is does it have the same intrinsic quality? I think these studies sort of accentuate the importance of real whole food. In fact, the quality of the food, I think, makes a difference. When you look at the comparative studies, antioxidant properties in organic produce is much higher than it is in inorganic or non-organic produce.
And obviously time and light also start to deteriorate any good food.
Absolutely.
When it comes to, these greens, why is it that greens, I always hear people saying, the greens are almost the most important. Why do people encourage the green vegetables so much?
Well, I would advise people to do the multicolored, the rainbow vegetables and fruits. The idea of all the reds, yellows, oranges, greens, these all have very different properties. And kind of back to what we talked about earlier, each one of these colors is sort of reflective of different antioxidant-like properties and different polyphenols and different really powerful agents that are supportive of our immunity and our chemistry. So really a broad spectrum. Get all those different broad-colored fruits and vegetables, not just the green. The greens are great, no question about it. But
definitely maybe add those green onions to your holiday meal.
Green onions are a new thought.
Mark Minkola, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks very much.
We appreciate it.